Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. Boomstick, and we're back after a 2-week hiatus. I hope that the viewership comes back. I am super stoked to be here. Obviously, I get to work with my brothers again, Dreadpool, Crispy Bomb, Mr. Bearpit. Obviously, he had left the show because he is now working, and he's obviously managing a real life job and his channel. We will get him on occasionally when he's on vacation, and of course, BitCloud Gaming should be here momentarily. We also have Cotton McCast joining us. We talked last night. He will be joining us. Hopefully, he'll be here momentarily. I'm happy to be back here on Fridays. Obviously, I had to take a couple of weeks off because, folks, I'm going to be honest with you. I was burning the candle on three ends, and it only had two. But Mrs. Boomstick and I took a nice vacation, and we did something we haven't done in years. We played a ton of games, and like I said on numerous shows, she is now addicted to Animal Crossing, and guess what? So is Mr. Boomstick XL. We were playing late last night again because you know what? It's weird that we play as a couple. It's the greatest thing. But let's get into the introductions because, folks, we have an array of topics, and the hottest one of today, the biggest one, the one that's making the biggest waves, is Psychonauts 2. There's already been people here in the chat half an hour before talking about it. There are certain entities in the gaming world that are review bombing this game, and I'm here to tell you that that's a sad state of affairs. I feel really bad for Tim Schafer and that incredible team because we're going to get into why this game even still exists, and it's due to Microsoft as stepping in. We're going to break that down. I am gonna bring up when we get to the topic. I believe it was Clobriel, friend of this community, posted a collaboration of scores from different sites, and it's getting tens. It's getting near perfect scores, and I got to be honest with you, folks. It's starting to get buzz for Game of the Year 2021, and that is incredible. Big for Double Fine and even bigger for Xbox because they are first party. But let's get into the introductions. Dreadpool, first of all, brother, it's great to be working with you again. How the heck have you been? And welcome.
I've been doing great, and this has been a while. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Boom Show here. What's funny is the week that you decided that you needed that break, that was my 1-year anniversary.
Oh,
so I missed my 1-year anniversary,
Wow.
but it wasn't my fault. It was Boom's fault. But hey, we all need those breaks. You know what I mean? So I guess this is the 1-year makeup anniversary show.
Yes. Well, first of all, congratulations, and I definitely appreciate you being here as long as you have. You are an integral part of the show, and we love having you here, brother. And again, it's great to be working with you again. And of course, certainly the best voice in the business, who I think should be hired by one of these companies to do a character's voice, Crispy Bomb. Welcome back, brother.
Good morning, everybody. What is up? Yes, I have my coffee ready. Got some great topics. And, for those Psychonauts haters, Crispy might have something to say about it. No.
Yeah, I think that we are probably going to have a lot to say about it because simply, listen, I'm the first one to say that if a game is broken or it's not working, by all means, give it a thumbs down. Do whatever you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Give it your review. Be honest. But to simply review bomb a game because it's not on you, and that's the thing that's pretty crazy. I was going to say something that would have made no sense, that it's not on your platform, but in fact it is. The only problem with the PlayStation 4 fan base, that could be some of the people that are, and again, I say could be, we don't want to point fingers and blame anyone for no reason, that could potentially be review bombing this, is because the Xbox Series X version, in fact, is going to get all of the bells and whistles, whereas the PlayStation version is only going to be as good as the PlayStation 4 Pro version. It's not getting the upgrades that you're seeing done on a Series X. Now, is that done on purpose? Because some people say this is Phil Spencer being the evil the Dr. Evil and Phil Spencer. I say no, I don't think that's what it is at all. I think that they were developing it, and then when the X came into the conversation and they became first party, they obviously were presented with tools that they can make the game better on the home platform. I don't think this is a spite kind of a thing, because it's business. They want to sell the game on both platforms, right? So, but you know what? Before again, I don't want to get too much into it, because we really are going to touch on that subject. But I kind of want to open up with topic one. Obviously, Geoff Keighley had his opening night live a couple of days ago for Gamescom 2021. And it was, in fact, a fabulous show. And again, I say this all the time. If you don't like Geoff Keighley for one reason or the other, I hear you. But again, you have to tip the hat, because it was a great show. And one of the titles that was shown on the main stage, one that I think is going to be a breath of fresh air in the beat 'em up kind of era, is Midnight Fight Express. If you didn't see it, I probably should have had footage. And folks, I just didn't have enough time this week. This week I was really kind of just doing everything at the 12th hour, so to speak. So I didn't have any footage of it. I will put the video in the show notes once the show uploads, so you could watch it. Midnight Fight Express is being made by one person, folks. And we've seen that happen on many times. Song of Iron by Joe Winter is going to be coming out on the 31st. Obviously, we became very good friends. As one of someone that I try to help out as much as I can by pushing his content. I was able to review Song of Iron. That's going up when the embargo lifts on the 30th, so you can check out my full review, spoiler-free review. We've seen one-person developers in Tunic. And we've seen one-person developers in quite a few of recent indies, and this is another one. And the guy that's making the game is Jacob Diswinel. He's a one-person development team, and what's incredible, and why I wanted to talk about this to open the show, is that Midnight Fight Express features motion-captured combat. It has incredibly modern-like visuals and different gameplay featuring multiple combat systems that you will learn. It's a deep combat system according to the description, but extremely accessible. And the gameplay is obviously on foot, cars, and boats, plus more. This trailer hooked me instantly. I dropped the trailer into the DM for the guys that are going to be on the panel. So I'll start with Dreadpool. Did you get a chance to watch the video, and what did you think?
Oh, no, I didn't get a chance. I got repeated chances to keep watching this thing. And it's funny, is I'm not a twin stick shooter type of guy. I've always had issues with some of those games. For some reason, I don't know. It's just, it doesn't hit me. But the 3/4 inch perspective, or inch, the 3/4 perspective, and the way that this is a beat 'em up, and just everything that they've done is different environments. I'm a little actually popping it up right now, watching and driving a motorcycle through office doors. I mean, you don't see that kind of stuff happening, and it's really cool. It's very, it looks like it's intuitive. You just swing and aim at the direction you want to go, and you just beat the crap out of people.
It's very John Wick.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. And it's cool to see that it's something different. We just had the Ascent. And here we are with this game coming out, and this one's got me. It's got me hooked. So I kept on watching it, trying to see what else I could see, if there was anything. But I'm watching it on the phone while I'm at work, when I should be working. But yeah, kind of have to glance up and look around and make sure no one's paying attention to what you're not working on. But no, it's definitely got my interest. I want to see more. Actually, rather play more. It looks like it's polished pretty good.
Yeah, it looks good. And the game releases early 2022. I believe it's supposed to come out in February or March. And like I said, it's one of those games that I think that when it, with just the preview, it's already getting some critical buzz from a lot of people within the gaming media and, of course, this community. And I think that once the game is finally finished and it's out for us to play, I have a feeling that this developer is going to deliver on this, and it's going to be one of those indie titles that we're talking about at the end of 2022. Crispy, let's get your opinion on this, brother. Did you get a chance to watch the video? Are you as enthralled with this game as we are?
I think it looks awesome. Definitely, it almost gives you like the feelings when you saw the Ascent for the first time. You know what I mean? It has a vibe of something new, but still kind of the same. Like it's very strange. It's like you feel like, you know, the fighting mechanics kind of look like you're like a John Wick / Keanu Reeves in the Matrix type thing. Like, you know, like pretty wild. Did I see Humble Games there? Are we getting that on Game Pass?
That's a good question, because someone actually just mentioned that. Who was it? Let me see. Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, Black Helmet Man in the chat says, don't forget, it's on Xbox Game Pass. Well, hello. I didn't even know that. So
yeah, because they got like
go.
8 games from Humble Games. Yeah, dude. Like,
crazy. Yeah.
I mean, another game that's probably, you know, it's gonna have people gravitating towards it. It definitely, like I said, I haven't really seen that kind of visceral combat in a beat 'em up. Like it felt more realistic, which after you said the motion capture and all that, that makes a lot of sense now. So definitely kind of crazy they went in with vehicles as well. I was not expecting that. So I mean, this was a more extensive trailer, but I think it had tidbits in the Xbox show of it, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes,
yeah. So I mean, to get it on Game Pass, I mean, come on, what can we say at this point about Game Pass? But definitely a game I'm interested in, you know. And it's one of those games that I feel like, you know, has a visual look that looks different than what I've played before.
Yeah, Yasid Baez in the chat is asking, because he just jumped in. The game that we're talking about is called Midnight Fight Express. It is an isometric. The best way to describe the game is it's like John Wick in a game. It's fighting through multiple areas. You're driving vehicles. You're doing all kinds of combat moves. It looks incredible.
Crazy scenarios.
Crazy scenarios, yes. At bar scenarios, warehouse scenarios. Like it kind of, even though it's two different games, there's a game coming out on the PlayStation 5 called Sifu, where every time you die, you age, but you come back. It looks incredible. I'm not getting the same exact vibes, but it's kind of that kind of game. I'm all the way in on that one. And again, thanks to, of course, Black Helmet Man, which I didn't even know, it's an Xbox Game Pass. So I mean, how could you go wrong?
Could we call it a 3/4 inch perspective beat 'em up on roids?
Should. Yeah, you could say that. Let me just shout out Philly Eagle. Thanks so much for being here, brother. Great to have you in the chat. But you know what? Again, this is, you know, we have a lot of bigger topics. We're waiting for the rest of the panel to pop in here. Maybe we can get another person or two to add to the chat. Let's see who is here. Okay. Raiden Blade drops an outstanding $2 super chat. And of course, after yesterday's show, Raiden, I don't think you need to drop any more super chats, but they're always greatly appreciated, my brother. He says, hey, Boom and panel, listening at work. Well, hopefully we can take 2 hours of your work and make him feel like the best 2 hours of your day. Thank you so much for, of course, being here. But yeah, you know what I mean? Again, this is one of those titles that I'm happy is getting spotlighted, because again, you know, development is hard. And sometimes you can make an incredible game and no one could know about it. The fact that it was on 2 stages, not just one, because I think you're right, Crispy. I think it was in that that filter film on the Xbox program of the Humble games. And then, of course, it was on Geoff Keighley's stage, which that's a big stage. That's a really big stage, because there are a lot of people watching it. And I can guarantee you a lot of people got excited after seeing that. But we are 17 minutes in, and we're already up to topic number 2. Good thing I wrote some backhand topics, because obviously I feel like we're going to run through these. And again, that's great, because everyone is going to enjoy the program. We're going to talk about a bunch of things. In a shocking turn of events yesterday, and completely out of nowhere, Bethesda dropped concept art for 3 distinct locations in the upcoming Xbox exclusive Starfield. Now, the name of the locations that they put up there was Neon, New Atlantis, and Aquila, or Aquila. They were dropped onto YouTube. Each of the presentations that were done were in the concept art. So they had still and some had motion. They were only about 50 seconds apiece, but it gave you a kind of a grander scope of the locations that you're going to be traveling to in this game. Of course, anyone in the chat, did you watch the video? What are your thoughts? And more importantly, to get the opinion of the panel members who are here today, what did you think? Dredd, we'll start with you, brother. This is again a quick insight to what we're going to be what we're going to be going to, where we're going to be going to in Starfield. And again, some of them were still shots. Some of them had a little bit of motion of like the spaceships flying by. Did you get a chance to take a look at them?
Every single one of them.
Nice.
And holy cow, if this turns into the way it looks, okay, and I know it's space, and I know I'm gonna go with what I'm gonna go with, and it should be no surprise to you guys. But with the one planet, being there for fishing, which I think was Neon, was the fishing planet that they found out had a drug that in the water or under the water or something like that they were mining. I was like, God, that reminds me of Spice with Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
So it's gonna, and just the way that they've done that, and then you got the new Atlantis, whatever that was, that other one, I forgot. And I'm like, Coruscant. I'm starting to like relate everything to Star Wars all of a sudden, and it's a good thing, not a bad thing.
Comparison.
It's
that's
a good
sure.
thing.
Yeah.
So I could see this, and like, holy cow, they're gonna have a huge legacy here if they pull this off right from the get-go. And the cool thing is they're just giving us little snippets, something that we can run off of and kind of throw our imaginations up in the air. Just, I think it's smart move. You know what I mean? Just give us a little something, tease us with a little, nothing. I mean, really, it's nothing there. It's just we're just coming up with different things. And yes, Roshan, I understand you mean Dune, but I'm thinking spices and Star Wars spice. Spice smugglers. So, yep. But yeah, it could be any kind of futuristic space movie. You know what I mean? You had ice pirates. So yeah. It just depends on which one you like. I mean, I obviously like that movie because I brought it up. Yeah, same thing with Ice Pirates. I love the quirkiness of some of these movies, and and if it hits more true life as if it was true life, that would be cool. Because now instead of we were promised in Destiny that we're going to be able to fly these ships and modify these ships and this, and I'm thinking, okay, we're going to be able to fly to these planets on our ships, join each other and be on each other's ships and this and this and this. And it wasn't what we thought it was, but it ended up being something bigger, and this could be the same thing. We're probably picking up a little bit more, but I think it's going to be bigger than what we expect. And I'm hoping that I'm correct on this, you know what I mean? But it's just cool that it has vibes of other things. I mean, anything with space deals with the same with space. So anything that we've seen before is going to be relatable to it. And if you have a franchise that you like and you can hold on to it and imagine that you're going into that franchise in a different form, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, no, me too, absolutely. And I love the connection to Star Wars because that's exactly what I thought. Obviously, these are very distinct locations. Star Wars locations that we're talking about are very, very different. But at the same time, I still got that Star Wars, that old school Star Wars vibe.
Well, it's the way that they put up, the Star Wars puts up their panels and their drawings and their concept art, and that's how I related it, and then everything else just started clicking more and more together. So it's not just one thing; it's multiple things that they've done, and it's a smart move. Whether or not it was intended to be related with Star Wars or any other movie, it's a smart move because yet again, here we are talking about it. Everybody's excited about it. I forgot the count last night when I looked at it where they were, but they were skyrocketing and growing as I was watching. I was like, holy cow, it's still ticking up. And it's, it's 2:00 in the morning Eastern time. So if it, that late and it's still ticking up, it tells you something.
Well, it shows that people are not only excited for it, but you know what? You gotta, absolutely hungry for it. But what's interesting with that statement alone is, I mean, again, we're never going to know, right? The only people that are going to know are the number crunchers at Microsoft, right? But you have to ask yourself, of those people that are clicking and watching, clicking and rewatching a third time, are these Xbox customers and fans, or are these gamers that might have been part of the Xbox 360 era, left to go to the PlayStation era, and of course back then for good reason, because obviously power, price, share games, the whole image that Microsoft found themselves underneath, and could those clickers, right, be joining the ranks of the Xbox Game Pass community? It's a fantastic question. Hey, we got to welcome in Cotton McCass. What's up, brother?
What's up? Sorry I'm late.
That's all right, bro.
Doing good.
That's all right. Listen, I was gonna save it for when you got here on the open. So now that you're here, we can talk, folks. If you enjoy hearing Cotton, and obviously a lot of people do, and he is going to now permanently be joining the Xbox Factor podcast on Thursday, starting next week, folks, as a permanent panel member, and you're going to get to hear all of his Halo exploits on a regular weekly basis. Cotton, welcome to the show, and thanks again for joining.
Oh, yeah, man. I'm actually super excited. I've been a big fan of your show for a long time.
Thanks,
specifically, the Xbox is what I play on all the time, so I'm excited to be joining you on a weekly basis and chatting it up, and talking a lot more Halo in the future.
We're definitely going to be talking Halo for sure. Real quick before I bring in Crispy Bomb and we're talking about the Starfield art that dropped from Bethesda, not leaked, but specifically put out there for everyone to enjoy. Spider-Man drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Is your podcast from yesterday not on the channel?" Yeah, there was a major issue with that stream, so I had to pull it down. I'm sorry you didn't get a chance to watch it. If you got a chance to watch it live, I do apologize, but there was an issue with that stream that I was not happy with, and I had to pull it down. But Space Davikin, welcome, Space Davikin. I'm glad to see you here, brother. He drops a $5 super chat and says, "Yes, really interesting planets." With an Empire versus Rebellion and pirate stuff. Yeah, dude. Skyrim meets Star Wars. Can't wait for that game. You know what, dude? That is the first freaking time I've ever heard someone use those two words together. I like the path that you're going. I'm following you, brother. Thank you for that. But
I'm double downing on that one.
Yeah, it sounds cool.
That sounds awesome, man. You should definitely put that on Twitter. Put that on the social Space Davikin, because that's a great combination. Crispy, unexpected, out of completely nowhere, that we had this drop, and again, not a leak. Not someone from behind the scenes recording with their camera and sneaking it out there. This is straight up came from the folks at Bethesda, kind of wet our whistle. I mean, we know that the game isn't coming out for quite some time, but they're not stoking the fire because the fire hasn't started yet. But they're going like this, and they're starting the fire. What did you think, bro?
How do you generate hype? You show us stuff, right?
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. Now, you look at these screenshots and whatnot, and first of all, I mean, I've watched enough about Todd Howard. Like, this game really has been,
dude. That's his
this
baby.
This has been in development for a long time. a long, long time. And only until this generation did they feel that the power of the consoles really could, you know, give the experience that they wanted to. So this is why you've been waiting so long. Even after it's been a while since they originally announced it. You know what I mean? And I truly believe it was probably right after Elder Scrolls that they just were like, you know what, we got to make a new engine because it's just not going to work. You know, so, and this looks like it's going to be something that they built from the ground up. Not just, you know, adding a nice shiny coat of paint to the original creation engine, because it really there was a point where you were just like Fallout 4, like it was underwhelming in visual department. You know what I mean? Like you just like, not my jam. You know, for some people they're like, it looks like Fallout 3 just a little bit better. And I think they really need to push the visuals because you're going into, you know, the universe. Like you gotta have that pop, you know. And then, you know, I heard some of the things that they were talking about, and one of them that caught my attention was when you're at the one planet and it has walls, and then if you go outside, there's like wolves / raptors that are out there. I'm like, say what? I was like, what are they trying to make a little second extension in there or something? You know what I mean? So it's pretty crazy.
You're muted, Boom.
Yeah,
Oh,
there you
there
go.
we go. Okay, I thought I was something.
No, that was completely me. I was typing, and I didn't want to let you guys hear the typing because that's completely unprofessional. I'm trying to, you know, welcome everybody because I think that as a host, for me, one of my pet peeves is trying to. Some days I just can't. I'm just overwhelmed with the day, but I try to at least say hello via chat, and of course I shout people out all the time. It's a pet peeve, and you know, again, I'm not owed anything. Everything that I have is earned, and obviously I'm very happy with this incredible community that supports my channel, and saying hello is literally the least that I could do. But getting back to Starfield, what we have to take away from this little snippet of what the future is going to be for this game is a couple of things. First of all, I think that this game is going to come out and it's going to crush. I think it's going to be probably the creme de la creme, the jewel in the crown of Todd Howard and the team over at Bethesda. This is their dream. This is something they've been working on for a very long time. The power of these consoles now are on the level of PC, and they could deliver incredible experiences. And what's interesting, and again, this is not a stab at Sony. What's interesting about this and why it's going to make headlines when it releases, besides it being an incredible game, which I'm already saying that it's going to be. I could be wrong, sure, but I have a feeling this is going to be an incredible game. It's exclusive to Xbox. And folks, that is a big deal. Much bigger deal than anyone could say right now, because why? Well, the game is a year out, right? So it doesn't matter right now. But when this game is being played by millions of people on Xbox and PC, they're going to be a subset of gamers who are Bethesda fans that are going to want, or more so have to get involved with the Xbox brand and platform to play this game. And it's those types of titles that are going to move the needle for Xbox Game Pass. Cotton, what are your thoughts on the 3 new locations and what all of the panel has already said? Uh-oh, you muted, Cotton. There you go.
My bad. Dude, I'm stoked for this game. And it looks, I don't know, this is giving me a vibe of like, I think back in early 2010 or so. Maybe it was 9. I'm trying to think of the exact year. Whenever Bungie, when all these rumors and things started coming out, not even just rumors, but like Bungie first started talking about Destiny. And the first batch of anything, obviously we have a little bit of a trailer already for this game, but the first batch Bungie ever released was just a bunch of concept art, right? And I cannot tell you how just hyped up that got me. I was like the biggest stan for Bungie at the time. I have a bit more faith in here at Bethesda to just deliver. You know, I mean, they've done this. They've been around the block quite a bit, and the whole premise, the idea behind this game it's ambitious, and it's something I've I want to see come from them. I've wanted to see them do something like this for a very long time. I'm sure a lot of people have, and it looks cool. I mean, was it Space Dova King said something, a really cool mashup there with
Yes,
Star Wars and
I've never heard that before. That was pretty dope.
Skyrim.
Yeah,
And it feels pretty spot on.
yeah.
I'm looking at them right now actually, and it just, the new Atlantis one is actually,
That's my favorite.
Yeah, that one.
That's my favorite. Yeah,
looks sweet, dude. I'm stoked. I'm really excited to see what they have, and it's just still blows my mind that this is going to be an Xbox exclusive. Like, could you imagine if this was the case when Skyrim came out? The whole conversation that would have been had all these years, like, oh, Xbox only has, Forza, Gears, Halo, and Skyrim. People have been like, yeah, exactly. What do you mean?
No, that's a great point.
So,
and I think those kinds of conversations are going to happen.
Yeah.
Again, this is, and again, I mean, we can turn this into a Skyrim kind of a conversation. But when Skyrim comes out, the next one, Elder Scrolls 6, that's going to be an Xbox exclusive as well. So we're going to be returning to this conversation to exactly what you said. Xbox has no games. Oh, really?
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's awesome, dude. I mean, nothing but excited about this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, I'll say this. What I'm hoping for me, is I know that a lot of people still, my brother specifically loves No Man's Sky. Like, he is a stan of stans for that game. He has played it for hours upon hours. Same way he's played Destiny. He has 1,000 hours in Destiny, and he has both. I think he has almost the same amount of time both on the PlayStation and on the Xbox. That's how much he loved Destiny. And what I'm hoping with this game, and what I think is going to happen, is you're going to logistically be able to go to a place like New Atlantis, and when you're done, fly the F out of there. Just get into your ship and bounce. Right.
That sounds so awesome.
It does sound awesome, but you know what sounds even more awesome? And again, this is now we're traveling, folks, to Speculation Town, where it's always sunny. There's always unicorns and rainbows and cotton candy for free on every corner. Could you imagine if the experience is different for each player? And what do I mean by that? Well, like me, like I'm playing Psychonauts, and I knew that one of the missions I had to go directly to one place, but that's not how I play. I kind of like to look around for things. I like collectibles. I like finding the cards. I like upgrading. So I'm going to everywhere. I'm actually found myself in places that I probably shouldn't have been there because I wasn't leveled up enough to get into a particular part. But that's because I'm out there searching. What if in I would say Skyrim? Oh my God! What if in Starfield you can actually be flying? Oh, I got a ping on my radar, and you find a planet that I didn't find. And you're doing missions that I didn't even know existed. And I think that's what's going to happen. Crispy, take it away. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, like I said, for them to be working this long on it, and I get everybody's like, oh, the last game, Fallout 76. Oh, it wasn't, it wasn't
that
good.
That game is turned around. It's
turned around. People are actually more people are playing it, I think, now than they ever have. And one thing we could say about Bethesda, they don't give up on games. They could have given up on that a long time.
Yeah, they could have shut down the servers almost a year later, and then no one would have blamed them. Like, the game is terrible. Yep.
Yeah. So they just push the RPG narrative. They love doing RPGs, and I think this one's going to be one for the books. Like, it's going to blow people's minds, I think. And for people to downplay it, like, I don't know. I ain't going against Bethesda. They have done some incredible things, and months of my gaming life have been spent just searching for stuff. So I am sure there's going to be so much. Yeah, so I think there's going to be so much to do. I think there's going to be so much customization that people just aren't going to know what to do with themselves, and they're just going to be enveloped in this world. And I think that's what they're going for. They want you to be a part of this world, and I think you might be onto something with that. Definitely, Boom.
I hope I'm right. Real quick, David Quesada and Chavez in the chat. Listen, he says that he wants that Halo console with a sad face. Listen, I'm going to tell you, and you probably already have it. Who doesn't know who Wario 64 is? Well, if you don't, when I tell you it's because of him that I got it. I learned because here's a quick story. If you missed yesterday, and obviously I had to take down the video for some serious reasons. I went to GameStop and I dropped my $200 down, and then I did the cardinal sin. I tweeted about it, and I was excited, like I was in the moment, and I was so excited. I wasn't like throwing it in anyone's face. I never do that, but I was excited. And then 2 hours later, my phone rings, and it's the GameStop manager. I'm like, "Hey, what's up, dude? Craig, I got bad news. What's up? You got to get a refund because the consoles aren't coming to the store. It's online only." Devastated.
Oh,
I was crushed. I was like, I just tweeted about this 2 hours ago, and it has 200 likes. I'm not taking this down. I'm not taking this down. And thankfully, what wound up happening is Walmart. And if you buy from Walmart, folks, get ready, because it's not like they charge you. They took the money. They took almost $600 out the account. My console's paid for reserves. And it doesn't go back in the account like Best Buy. They take your money. But I was obviously like I tell everyone to do, follow Wario 64, and he had posted that at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, Walmart was going to have several waves. Keep up to date with Wario 64. Click the bell and follow that man, because his I'm telling you, man, at 8:30 ET, I was sitting on the couch with Mrs. Boom. We were watching a movie, and I said, "Hold on, pause for a second." And I was refreshing, and I effing got it, man. And I was like, "My God, yes!" And if you're wondering what the shirt is, this is old school Godzilla. This is Jet Jaguar. If you don't know who he is, they got to bring him back in a big way. It's way back in the 70s in Godzilla versus, oh my God, what's the film? Oh my God, it wasn't Mechagodzilla. No, I'll remember it in a second. But it's, if you're wondering what the shirt, yeah, it's Jet Jaguar, one of my favorite characters in the Godzilla EU. But Dreadpool, let's get your opinion on this. The one thing that we love about gaming is it takes us away from real life, right? Regardless of how bad of a day you're having or how great of a day you're having. For me, when I get into a game that has an incredible story, I got the headphones on, the lights are off, no one's in the house. I'm sitting huddled over like a big old nerd, and I'm enjoying myself. This game has the potential to be one of those games very similar to No Man's Sky, where you're out there. Yeah, sure, there's going to be main missions. Go stop these bad guys. Go stop these space pirates. But as you're flying around, I would imagine you could find new planets and find new characters. We don't know if you're going to be able to have a team of people with you, like they did in Fallout. But man, would that be dope? What are your thoughts on that, Dredd? Dredd's muted.
And I had a good comeback line too. All right, I'm waiting to see some space dragons. So I don't know. It's just cool that we're going to be able to experience this, and hopefully they've learned their ways of when they put out this game, that it's not going to be as buggy. But I mean, they put out these massive games, and we already know when you put out such a massive game that it's going to have plenty of issues, you know what I mean? And they have to go through it all. When it's so huge, it's hard to find everything. And they do support their games, which is good. I'm hoping that this, I just get lost in the world, I'm, like I said, in my mind, I'm thinking Star Wars, space pirates, or ice pirates, whatever. Just doing the stupid stuff we want to do, and having a good time with it, where it makes sense that, yeah, you could do this, and it's not like, what did this happen for? So I fully expect to get enthralled in it and just get lost in space. No pun in, well,
which was a classic show back in the 60s, which I loved, by the way. I'm not that old. Like, I was born 1970, but I still watched the show. I agree with you, dude. And if there's one thing about Bethesda games that is almost inherent, is that they allow the player to play the game the way they want to play it. Again, there's the mission structures, there's a story, we get all of that. But if you want to be an evil bee, you can go around and chopping people up, killing them in their sleep. And you're just a bad guy. Or you could be somewhere in the middle, like a Han Solo type, or you can be just, a choir boy and not do anything wrong. And they give you the ability to do that. Don't mind the drunk driving on screen, folks. It's definitely not good. But Cotton, let's get your opinion on this. The ideology that could be, and again, this is just speculation town right now, folks, but because it's Bethesda, because they allow the player to play the game the way they want to play, do you think we're going to be able to find new planets, new missions that, like I said, when I talk to Crispy and say, Crispy, I just found a space dragon, he's going to say, where did you find it? Well, I found it over here. I don't know if I can give coordinates or not, but he's going to want to try and find that as well. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that sounds awesome. That's right up my alley. I mean, I've always wanted that sort of experience. I mean, it's going to be the closest thing to, like, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, right? And I remember back when, even when they announced No Man's Sky, I was like, man, that concept is just crazy. It's like infinite it obviously won't be infinite, but just the whole idea of being on world and leaving off world and going to another planet is just like, it's still such a grand scale idea in video games to me that, like, I've always wanted to experience. And the first time I did was with No Man's Sky, and I had a really good time with it.
Yep.
And I remember back whenever Star Wars Battlefront 3 was being rumored and worked on way back in the day before 2 eventually came out, and there was all this like leaked gameplay of, like, the battles taken on the ground and being a seamless transition into space battles, and just like being mind blown, like, I can't believe this is possible. So to think of someone who could do it, I think Bethesda's definitely one of those people who have that ambition and that scale in mind of, like, okay, we're really going to give you this galaxy to just, go crazy and just explore. And I think that there's areas, I'm not mistaken, like even in Oblivion and Skyrim and all those games, like you can pretty much go anywhere from the start. I mean, you might get your ass kicked, but you pretty much can go anywhere. And I think that's, if they can pull it off, and with the tech that we have nowadays, I don't see why not. I mean, they're super, super talented. I would love to see it. And I'm getting, now that we've said, the Skyrim and the Star Wars vibes, I'm starting to think, like, I'm just getting like Treasure Planet and like visuals in my head. I'm like, oh man, like this could be something like really special, really cool.
Well, you know what's interesting, and Crispy, did I get your point on this, Crispy?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so before we move on to the next topic, what I want to say is, because it's the universe, because it's space, right? And this is a new IP. There isn't a subset that they have to follow in regards to how they create. They can get as wacky and crazy as they want in their design of these planets. I mean, you might be on a planet that is all water based, that you could be underwater. There's another one that could be all lava on volcanoes, that you're on the surface or trying to stay above the surface. There are ones that might be like jungle planets, that you're just going through jungles, that are just are all over the planet. I'll just say this, just based on my personal imagination, I can only imagine what the great minds at Bethesda are going to be bringing us next year. Real quick, shout out to Painkiller. That's right, it was Godzilla versus Megalon, and I saw that. It was for my birthday. I want to say it might have been 7 or 8. I remember my parents took me to City Cinema in Co-op City in the Bronx. Any Bronxites out there will remember that. That is an old school G theater. It's not there obviously anymore, but my brother Neo Mental, and I saw many of films there. If he's listening, he's probably smiling from ear to ear because we used to sneak. One movie used to end, and we used to kind of run into the other theater to watch the movie. Yeah, we did kind of silly things like that. But listen, great conversation. Real quick, Space Davigan drops an additional very generous $5 super chat, says developing on a more closed engine and dev kit should help greatly. On the past, creation engine read really bad on the PlayStation machines, and that's very true. And I think you're definitely onto something with that because they are just dealing with every game is built on a PC, right? That we all know that. So the PC build is going to be where it's born, and then because the Xbox Series X is going to be is as powerful as it is, and now that come this holiday. Every console is going to have the ability to stream games via the xCloud. And yeah, it's so an OG Xbox Xbox One will be able. Now, granted, you're streaming. It's going to depend. It's going to depend on your connection. There's a lot of variables, but you'd be able to play games on that Xbox One that are only exclusive to let's say the Xbox Series X and S. And that's Microsoft allowing us or anyone that is still having the old consoles to still be a part of the conversation. I think that's incredible. And I think that's why they are leaps and bounds ahead of both Nintendo and Sony.
I pretty much have the exact date that I said that they would be able to bring it back to the OG consoles.
Yes, you did say that. Yeah.
It was August 28th when 2019. When I said it, okay, and I said it before that, and the only reason why I know here is because I actually messaged Brad Sams back then. That was the date that I messaged him, going back and forth about it, and one of his first replies was entirely plausible.
Yeah, Brad Sams, friend of this show. We've had him on twice. Brad owes me a couple of visits, so we had a running bet. As soon as he hit 20,000 followers on YouTube or subs, that he would come back on. I haven't reached out to Brad. Brad's a great guy. I definitely got to get him back on here. But yeah, he's got the inside skinny, and good on you. 2019, you're a prophet, my friend.
Yeah, it's cool to see all of those like hopes and things that we've been wanting to see with like xCloud, like just we've been talking about for the past couple of years, like just come to fruition. Now it's only a matter of time that we get those apps on our smart TVs and everything. I mean, this is definitely something. I think I remember talking to Dredd about this actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just so cool. It's such an awesome idea. The cloud streaming it's a big deal, and people really haven't even caught on yet. So just wait.
And think about it. Back then, we really didn't know how bad the epidemic was going to be.
Right.
So, and everybody's like, well, they were working on it already. I'm like, yeah, somebody was, I'm sure, thought about it, but were they really working on it, saying, hey, we're going to be running out of consoles, and maybe we could do something to help keep the engagement up? And this is one way. But we've talked about it. I got ridiculed for years about it, and now it's like redemption.
Indeed, absolutely redemption.
So my next prediction, seeing that I brought up Ice Pirates, and I'm gonna if they do this, it's gonna be funny. What if you get space herpes?
Oh my god!
If you don't know what I mean, you gotta watch the movie, and then you'll understand it.
Listen, is that out of the realm for some of the things you've seen in like Skyrim, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying. So, but if you see something like that, you'll know now where the reference is.
Oh yeah, they're gonna drop a couple of zingers in there.
They will.
Well, listen, what a great way to invite to have Cotton join us, and of course announce that he's joining the Xbox Factor podcast on Thursdays to talk about, of course, Starfield. But I want to get on to topic number 3. So let me just get down my show notes, because you know what? Nothing like getting yelled at for not having the correct timestamps, and that happens more often, folks, than you can even imagine. Topic number 3. This one may not hit with everyone, but it's going to hit with Boom because I'm an OG. The new and I guess it's the reboot. We saw during the on live event at Gamescom, and we got a new trailer for the new Saints Row by Volition, and it's set for a February 2022 release. The game is a reboot of the series, and it's set in southwestern American region called Santo Leso or Ileso. And listen, folks, if you are a fan of GTA, you were probably one of the original adopters of the original Saints Row, which was very gang violence heavy. It was more like GTA. It's just was a different game. Lots of guns, lots of bosses to fight, lots of regions to take over. But as we've seen in previous Saints Row games, this new version, or the reboot of the franchise, and it needed a reboot, folks. So they went to outer space and they had superpowers. I like those games. I'm not going to front. They kind of remind me of Crackdown, which is why I went searching for orbs and all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm happy that the game is back down at its roots. But you're going to be also hunting a total of 3 rival gangs that are going to be a part of this story. And of course, they're going to have each gang is going to have their own different style, their own bosses and their sub bosses, and you're going to have to take over the regions. And what they're asking, Volition is asking players to do, is overthrow the 3 factions in attempt to take over Santo Ileso and grow the ultimate criminal empire. For me personally, I'm happy that it has returned to its quote-unquote GTA roots. And listen, to be honest with you, we got a release date, folks, February 2022. That's just right around the corner. I'm starting to see commercials already on TV for freaking Halloween, and I can't get out of the 90s here in New York. So the new year is going to be here before you know it. And what's not going to be here? GTA 6, because they're releasing GTA 5 once again, and they're already at 157 million copies. Do you think that the people at Take-Two are in a rush to bring us GTA 6? No. So it's nowhere to be found. I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be a great way to start 2022 if you like those types of, GTA-esque games. Dreadpool, what are your thoughts on the remake of or rebranding of Saints Row, bringing it back down to the grounded level of GTA? Uh-oh, you're muted. Did he step away?
Why did I do that again? I'm sitting here and I got a
It's
good break in there and everything. I think it's a big FU to GTA for like, you know what? You're not stepping into the new territory. We are, and that's what they did when they had the first one. They're like, oh, we'll do the same thing. We're a ripoff, but we're going to do something a little bit different. And I love the original storylines, and then when they came out with Agents of Mayhem, I was like, I don't know why they even did this as a spinoff. Yeah. But bringing it back home to the beginning, doing an open world with the story and no story. I mean, it looks like it's literally going to follow the footsteps of GTA in the open world aspect, and then some. You know what I mean? I talked about steroids earlier. This is another game on steroids. They like double shot in each arm at the same time. It's just like, well, okay, who's hitting the hips here now? So yeah, I mean, it looks fun, and it still has that neon look to it. It even gave me, and I know I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I don't care. It even gave me some Crackdown vibes.
Yes,
there's
nothing wrong with that.
No, exactly, but some people don't like it and they don't want to hear Crackdown anymore.
Listen, I want to say this right now. Please do not pay attention to the knuckleheads on social media. Go play Crackdown 3. I am freaking telling you that you will love that game if you enjoyed the original Crackdown titles. It is the best parts of 1 and 2 combined with next-gen graphics. Do not listen to people that said that game is a 3. I am telling you, not even remotely close. But Dredd, I want to we'll come back to you. I want to welcome in our very own Viking You know him as the Wandering Dutch. What's up, brother? I sent out the bat signal or the boom signal, and you answered. Welcome, brother.
I did indeed. How's it going?
It is going great, brother. It's
Finished
going
early. Finished early from work, so I thought I'd jump in for at least catch the last topic. So, no, I'm doing good. I've been listening a little bit, and I've heard we're speaking about the new Saints Row.
Yes. Well, yeah, we're talking about Saints Row, and then we're going to get into the excitement around Psychonauts 2, but also the controversy that seems to be rearing its ugly head. But Dreadpool, please continue. I like what you're saying about the Crackdown vibes, because if in the original Crackdown, like you said, there were rival gangs that you had to go out and hunt. You know, you had to get the sub bosses and you had to fight the big boss. This is very reminiscent of it, and I think it's still going to be the wacky Saints Row that we know and love.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you're going to have the weapons. It's going to go the way I look at it, like the Dead Rising, where you combo these weapons up. You know, just mismatch of everything. If there's one thing you got to learn from Fortnite, is how to steal everybody else's work and make it better. I mean, that's plain and simple, right? You just do that, and then just do it your own way and make it better. And they were already doing that before Fortnite was even a thought process of anybody's head, you know. So they were doing that with GTA. They made their own campaign. You know, you had to go there and be your rival. You know, you're getting out of prison and you know, getting with your gang and figuring out who you were and going with the storyline. But like I said, this seems to be more open world. The whole Crackdown 3 setup, and if you're going to play Crackdown 3, don't play the multiplayer, just play the campaign.
Yes,
but
yes,
it's got that look, the vibe of all these games that we've already said, you know, and it's looking
looks good.
It's looking
looks
great.
Really good, yeah.
And granted, this is just the trailer, but that's what they are, right? They're there for us to get hyped up about these games. Hopefully we get to see some real gameplay. Hopefully we get to see some real meat of this game and how it feels. And they've been making, like I said, they've been making these games for how long now? So even with their offshoot of Agents of Mayhem, they've learned a few things from that game.
Oh, of course.
So, you know, even when you make a bad game, you learn what not to do again, hopefully, you know, and I have full confidence that these guys will really throw us for a loop when we see something and we're like, whoa, did you see that? I didn't know we could do that. You know, hey, boom, did you see this? Check this video out. You know,
yes,
check out this clip. You know, Crispy, did you get yeah, I already got to that, but did you see this? Oh wow, I didn't know about it. You know, it gets that talking and hopefully we get, it looks like it's multiplayer too, not just your one story.
You know what, I don't recall them touching on it, but why wouldn't it be, right? Like
you got how many characters in the car and they're all interacting together and it sounds like players. It doesn't sound like a script.
Could you imagine if that's multiplayer though? I mean, that would be bananas.
And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit of everything.
Wow, dude. That is, man, you're bringing your A game today, Mr. Dreadpool.
Hey, it's been a while. I've been saving up.
Well, Crispy, let's get your opinion on this, because if there's one thing that we know about Volition is that they know how to make wacky and crazy games, right? We know that they know how to make a GTA level serious game because they did it with 1 and 2, which were fantastic. And then it kind of went off the rails with superpowers. And I'm not going to, like I said, I played all the Saints Row 3 and 4 and completely loved them. I didn't mind having all these superpowers, but I did miss the seriousness of the franchise. They're rebooting it. It's basically wiping the whole Saints Row away, and here it is. And Dreadpool brings up a great point. Could you imagine a GTA-esque level title with multiplayer? If that comes to fruition, holy cow, that is going to be great.
Yeah, I mean, because you know the one thing I hate is, like, if you go multiplayer, you're going to have a bunch of microtransactions in there, because that's going to drive me nuts. I mean, that's why I've never gotten into.
Hopefully they do not go down that route. Hopefully they don't pull a GTA.
Yeah, because I think that turns people off. Like, some people are like just enveloped in the world, and I get it. I do. I lost interest in GTA a long time ago. I played the heck out of Vice City, out of 3,
Me too.
and out of 4, and that it was like at the point where like I would get in there and I would do one wrong move and then I'd have all the cops all over me and it would just be the same thing over and over again. Like like you could walk by somebody and then they'll punch you. You'd be like, oh, I'm punching you back, and then it turned into that. The one thing I'll say about Saints Row is that I actually enjoyed 3. I'm not. 3 was pretty fun because the combat was wild. It was wacky. It was crazy, and to have those powers there, and they just know how to like get crazy with it. And for them to reboot, a lot of people don't even know about Saints Row, so I could see why it has a good standing to be able to do something, especially with GTA 6 not coming out anytime soon. So
yeah,
definitely think they have something here. Just got to see more. Need to see some gameplay. What I saw there, it's it seemed like it's Saints Row, but are they going to keep that same wackiness? It didn't seem as wacky as I've seen. So that's your niche. That's what you distincted yourself from other games, and hopefully they stick with that.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that they're listen. The one thing that we can say, it has been several years since Saints Row 4. And I think that the landscape of gaming has changed. Certainly, the microtransaction things has been a big topic. I don't think that you want to try and reboot a franchise that saw a significant success and then kind of fell off a cliff a little bit. And then to muddy the waters with, oh, by the way, yeah, it's multiplayer, and we have all of these microtransactions that you can buy. People are gonna immediately turn out or tune out, I should say. I hope you're right. I hope they don't go that route. I hope that it's just a game that has online within the game, not a multiplayer like a GTA Online kind of a thing. Now, if they want to go that route, fine. But I'm more concerned about just the overall story. Cotton, let's get your opinion on this, brother, and then we'll get Dutch in here, and then we're going to get right to the main topic of the show, and that is Psychonauts 2 and how that is being considered by many to be Game of the Year 2021. Where do you fall on your likes or dislikes for Volition's Saints Row?
I mean, I didn't play a lot of the original Saints Row. I'm not sure when it came out, but I did play it a bit at like my friend's house and whatnot. It was more of 2 and 3 that I played. Was it 4 that had the superpowers or the presidential?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, see, I didn't play that one very much. I played a lot of 3, and I know they had co-op, right? And that was, I mean, kind of a multiplayer. I don't know if it'd be kind of crazy to see them do like a big lobby of multiplayer, like on that scale of GTA. Like that'd be actually really crazy in this kind of world that I know them for. I mean, 3 was just the combat, the weapons, everything, like down to the DLC. It got really out there, but it was a lot of fun. Like they had the gangsters in space stuff where you go to Mars or I guess you're on a Hollywood film set. But I don't know. I always really liked Saints Row, and I always had a good time with it. It was like, it takes the super seriousness out of what you feel in GTA, like Crispy said, and just makes it a little bit more arcadish and fun. And that's what I loved about it. And I got major Crackdown vibes to both.
So did I. Yes.
And your point. Yeah. Like immediately I did. I mean, it's just, especially reading about it and hearing the interview where they start talking about the different gangs and having to overthrow them. I'm like, okay, this is
take down the sub bosses, and you got to work your way to take them all down to get to the big one. Yeah, that is Crackdown 101.
Yeah, for sure. And I was like, man, I loved Crackdown. Like literally, I remember when that demo came out on 360, and it was
when
like
you bought,
it was like a time.
Everyone
demo.
bought it to play Halo.
Oh right, yeah. I got the game to play the Halo for sure, but I actually wanted to play Crackdowns. I played the demo so much. It was like I don't know, a 20-minute like time demo, and then you could restart, and you'd have to progress over again. And I remember just playing it over and over and trying to like get to the top of the fair, just collect every orb possible and see like what I could do. And ever since then, I mean, I loved Crackdown 3, a great game, and this It's just a CG trailer, and I mean, I would probably be just as excited as I am if I would have just seen a title or read a headline that said, new Saints Row is coming, a reboot. Just because like I have that sort of nostalgic of playing with like certain friends, just co-op through, and there's always just been cool features in GTA that I've wanted in other games, like whether it was when you're driving in your car and you have the radio and they let you go into settings and you can literally make a mixtape station on the radio where you pick and choose all your favorite songs from each radio station that they have available and then just play your mixtape the whole time. So you literally just have like your favorite hits in their games. I was like, this is genius. Like, why does GTA not, like, why don't other games do this? Like, come on. I don't know. I just think they've been on the ball, and it's going to be cool to see them have their new rendition of it and on new tech. I'm excited to see what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, that makes two of us. Real quick, Drawn TJ drops, wow, man, a very generous $20 super chat. He says, hey, Boom, love your show. Hey, is there a chance maybe that I could be on your show Monday? And are the pre-orders done for Halo consoles? Keep up the amazing work, dude. First of all, thank you for the generosity. You certainly don't need to do that to be on the show. DM me, Drawn TJ, and we will. I got him. I think I have a guest this Monday, and the panel might be stacked, but we could definitely get you on the show. One of the things that I am proud to say that I do on this small channel, and again, it's considered small to many, is giving the community an introduction to new voices. And if you ever wanted the podcast, if you ever want to check that off your checklist, like I did when I got onto Crossfire, hit me up in the DM. As long as you have a working mic and a decent pewter, we'll get you on. Obviously, we try to keep the cursing to a minimum because I like a PG kind of a show because I know there are several kids that listen to it. But yeah, Drawn TJ, reach out to me, brother, and we'll definitely get you on the show for sure.
I'm an example. I did the same thing. I reached out to you. I was listening to you for a long time. I appreciate it, guys. I remember like just being at work, doing landscaping, being outside, sweating, and only thing getting me through my day was all the shows you kept putting on. I was like, man, I want to talk with these dudes. I got something to say, and you extended the hand, and I mean. I'm generous.
Yeah, I'm a prime example too, but in a different way. I was at work and boom, everybody just like bailed on him, and he was like, "Anybody that's
I need help,
anybody." and when I got on, it was like I was in my van, and everybody's like, "Are you in the bathroom or something?" Because of the echo of the van.
That's great.
Yeah, so it was, so yeah, I. Definitely, Boom is a man of his word when it comes to, bringing people in, if you want to come in, but you got to have a good mic. And I'm a prime example of having a bad mic.
Well, listen,
you got a nice mic now.
I was happy to have you, brother. Let me tell you something. But yeah, you've been a great asset to the show. Great community member. Both you guys have, and it's great to work with you. Real quick before I get to Wandering Dutch, Kevin S., generous friend of the show, he drops an outstanding $5. Jen says, got Saints Row pre-ordered. Is it up for pre-order already? Holy shit. I'm going to do that as soon as we're off. He says, pre-ordered for Series X. Let's go. Keep up the great work, Boom. Well, thank you very much for that. And Wandering Dutch, I don't know because we didn't have a pregame with you. I appreciate you being here. Where do you kind of fall on Saints Row? Because it obviously started out as some people would say a GTA clone. Right. And the original one was fantastic. 2 was much better, a huge step up in quality. 3 came out. I enjoyed 3. And then 4 was like, it was like playing Crackdown, which is probably why I really enjoyed it. And I played the F out of that. But now, I mean, it blew up planet Earth at the spoilers, folks. Earth gets destroyed at the end of Saints Row 4. Sorry if I ruined that for you. There was really nowhere to go. I like the idea that they have brought it back down. It's going to be a gritty. It's still going to have the wackiness. We know that because it's Volition. Are you excited for this new for the new Saints Row?
See, I lost my way a little bit with Saints Rows over the years because as much as they were wacky, there was so many different variants of like GTA games that
Yeah.
I just stuck with GTA at the time and then just didn't bother with them going forward. But this one, especially with the news that the developers are saying that it's going to retain obviously the fun of a Saints Row, but they're going to be making a little bit more down to earth, should we say? That sounds more intriguing to me than it does something that's wacky, and it just feels a little bit like a Just Cause where you just kind of blow things up for the sake of blowing things up.
Yeah.
If I was doing something like that, I'd rather it be in the vein of a GTA where the story and the missions feel a little bit worthwhile, because GTA 5 did the story well, where you had several different viewpoints and you had these very interesting characters with good story backgrounds and story arches and things. If they can kind of get that done with this group of up-and-coming mafioso, then they're definitely intrigued to see where that will go, because that sounds a lot more interesting, trying to grow a criminal empire as opposed to trying to take somebody down. It's so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Real quick, I want to shout out a good friend of the program, good friend of the community. If you're not subscribed to this man's channel, what the heck are you doing? Invader Gaming is in the chat. Thank you for being here, Invader. We definitely got to get you back on the show, or at least I got to get on your Sunday show. Hit me up in a DM and we'll definitely set that up, because I love what you're doing over on TXR. But yeah, definitely check out Invader Gaming. Good friend of mine, good friend of the community. But listen, folks, we got to get into the skinny, so to speak, of I think this is the biggest topic of the show for sure, because obviously it's in the thumbnail. I had politely, and it's not going to happen because listen, this is a small show. I kind of tagged the creator or the leader, so to speak, of the studio to jump in. Tim Schafer is one of my favorite developers, and I say that because back in the days, my nephew, when he was much smaller, he's 12 now, we used to play Happy Action Theater together on Connect. And I know people are like, Connect, but it was such an amazing bonding experience that it's a part of me. It's always going to be a part of me. And he absolutely, and I absolutely loved this Connect game. And I had reached out to Tim on Twitter, and don't you know, he responded. And I mean that's not the time. That's not why I'm a fan of Tim. I've been a fan of Tim for years. His personality is so likable. It's so genuine. So I had tagged him in the advertising and said, "Hey Tim, if you want to jump on, by all means jump on." Now that would have been epic, but listen, he's a busy man, and that's totally cool. But we got to talk about Psychonauts for a lot of reasons. And before we get to the negative, because there are some negative things going out in the socials that disappoint me as a fan of gaming. I've always been the type of gamer, regardless of what platform you like, I want to see everyone win. Now, have I been hard on Sony for some of their shenanigans? Yes. And again, we're going to be talking about it on Monday's prime time. We got some new information that Ratchet & Clank could, in fact, have been done as on a PlayStation 3, let alone a PlayStation 4, when it was pitched as only on PlayStation 5, which is, again, it's disingenuous by Sony. It's them using terror tactics to force gamers to upgrade, and I think that's really crummy. I think if you want to upgrade because you were a PlayStation fan like I am, that's great. But some of the things that they've recently done have been just really dirty, and I don't like it. So you're going to hear more about that on Monday's Primetime Gaming. But we got to reel it back into what I think is going to be potentially a game that's going to be in the running by many sites, even Geoff Keighley's Game of the Year, and that's Psychonauts 2. This, folks, is a modern-day platform masterpiece. I'm only about an hour, 6 or 7 achievements in, because, like I said, this week has been I've been crushed with so much going on. I barely have any time to put the freaking shows together. I wrote show notes for this. I think it was 8:30 last night. It was ridiculous. This week was just been too much. But if you haven't played it, this game is, I think, can appeal to old men like myself, right? The old school platforming community. But I think there is, because it could be. I think kids are gonna, if you have kids, they're gonna see the graphics, folks. These are Pixar level graphics. I would even say that they are like right here with Ratchet and Clank. I think that, yes, they're two separate games, two different platformers. I totally get that. And Ratchet and Clank, take nothing away, that's an amazing Insomniac game, and it's going to be in my top 5 of 2021. But keeping up with the conversation with what I think it's a modern day masterpiece, Psychonauts 2. And you know what's interesting, and I got to pull up my notes for this, because I went back in and I did some background work on what on the original pitch from Double Fine Productions. And if you didn't know, folks, and this is why, I have to bring Microsoft into the conversation. And I'm going to go to Dredd first on this, because he actually gave me more information than I had. This game was originally attempted to be funded by a crowdfunding entity known as Fig. And if you don't know what Fig is, Fig Project is an alternative crowdfunding source that is it's slightly different from the traditional Kickstarter. And that's where this game was. And yes, it did get funded, but there was a chance that this game was not going to come out. Now, in E3 2019, at the Xbox showcase, I happen to be extremely fortunate. And that's why I have so much love and admiration and respect for every one of those men on the Iron Lord podcast. That's my family right there. I mean, as long as I've been in gaming, I never knew how I would get to E3. Right? I had no idea. And they schooled me on how to get there. And I was in the audience when Tim came out and Phil was talking to me. He was 30 feet from me, and he announced that they had been acquired by Microsoft. And folks, pardon my sorry, I smiled from ear to ear. Like, it was because of how I love Double Fine. I think they just make such unique games. If they would have went out of business, man, because of money, that would have been a travesty of gaming justice. I'll hand the mic over now to Dreadpool, who had some more to back end what we were talking about in the green room. Are you happy to see that not only did Microsoft potentially save Double Fine Studios, but how well this game turned out from the last one that released 16 years ago, Dredd?
Oh, most definitely. And it's here's the beauty of it. They were able to continue it. For a brief period, there was a time that this game was not going to be made, and possibly there was not going to be a studio. So, you know what I mean? And that's why, when they crowdfund stuff like this, they don't have the money to keep the lights on, and granted, he's built up enough money and, to keep the lights on a little bit longer than some. I mean, we talked about In Exile. They've even mentioned it. If it wasn't for Microsoft / Xbox buying them, they were shutting down, so this is a good thing. Now, for them to continue the graphics, they it was just like yesterday. You know what I mean? Granted, with new graphics, the style is literally the same. It's demented out of his head. Which is awesome. The way that these new characters are, the new models are, and it's the same classic platformer. So it's good to see this stuff grow. And yeah, we'll bring up the competition, right? I don't see them as competition. It's its own game. They're both platformer, yes, but they all have their unique style. And when you have a unique graphical style like that, that's designed a certain way, you can't really compare them like that. Okay, you have to compare the gameplay, and both have good gameplay. So, bravo to them. And I called this one out first, too. I just didn't think it would be all the way down to PS3. I said you could do this on a PS4. Liars. But, hey, it is what it is. It's a good game. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter where it's playable. Same thing here. They brought this game from where it was on the OG Xbox and had this idea and finally had someone that backed them enough that they can go back in and finish this game. Not only did they finish this game, they went back and ported the old point and click games. All right. So here's another fact. Grim Fandango had a bug in it at the elevator. There's one elevator scene that had a bug and you couldn't complete the game. They went back and fixed it. Why? Because now they had the money to go back and figure out what was wrong with it and fix it. I'm sure somebody online had already figured out what the issue is, but you still got to go through and make sure that tweak is the right tweak for the game. Just because somebody figured it out, you can't just always rely on the skills of the internet, because you don't know who's who. But yeah, they went back and fixed an old game that didn't, most companies wouldn't have done. So, the money behind it is a big deal. And they were able to push this out, keep it nice and clean, keep the same ideas that he had for all those years. I mean, 16 years later, it feels like it's a natural progression from 1 to 2, as if it was back to back. It doesn't feel like it was horrible, and it feels so much better. The versatility, the styling, even I'm trying to think of the word now. Just how different everything is too. You know what I mean? The worlds aren't the same. Okay, here we are in this brain here, and it's just like the other brain. There's a lot more to it, and it's cool to see that they've developed the storyline and progressed it. And I'm ready for a 3. Let's push out for a 3. Let's support them and get a the Psychonauts 3 to start being worked on. So, but yeah, I see this. It's good year, game of the year contender. But on the Metacritic side, I don't know why. And I know I talked to Boom earlier with this. I think if you're going to give a score for Metacritic, especially for a game like this or one of the other ones, wherever you bought the game, they should have a link to bring it over to help mitigate some of these negative reviews or overly positive reviews. You know what I mean? So at least this way you're not buying a game without it and
okay, I'm back, gentlemen.
slapping
Sorry
it
about
up
that.
there. Not a problem. I was just trying to keep the flow.
You mean
going.
a little bit more like the Steam process?
Yes.
Shows
Yeah.
how much you've actually played the game.
Correct. Yeah.
Right, yeah, it should be simple. You should be able to just sign in, link your PSN, link your Xbox.
We're gonna get to that, because there is a lot. I mean, thanks for saving the show. So I had another Greg Miller incident. Obviously this is real life, and someone made a delivery for Mrs. Boom. But listen, look, again, we're gonna talk about Psychonauts 2, what we think about it, and we're gonna back end it with the controversy, because look, I'm gonna say this. I understand that the game might not be for you. Totally. Not every game is for every gamer. Like I said, the t-shirts are coming. But you can't shit on a game, pardon my French, because it's not your type of genre. Now, a lot of the shenanigans that's going on probably has to do with 2 factors. One, and I'll be the first one to say that it exists in gaming media. It's a subset of younger writers who have a distaste for the Xbox brand, and they are allowed to write reviews that are false. And they give, and again, you should be able to, you have to, in order to do a proper review. I'm not saying you should, because some games you just can't beat in the time that you're given, right? Some games are 100 hours. How are you going to put 100 hours into a game to do a proper review? But you get 20, 30, 40 hours into a game, I think you could potentially review it and do a good review. So, I mean, obviously, we have to ask the questions. Where are the receipts? But we're going to get to that. Let's get Crispy Bomb in on the conversation. This is a game that came out 16 years ago. The same type of wittiness and incredible writing that we saw 16 years ago has come back in a big way. These graphics that we're seeing on the Series X, which is the best version of this game to play, looks fantastic. I don't know what you could say about the graphics. The gameplay is solid. It's a fantastic platformer. Where do you fall with Psychonauts 2?
I'm gonna try it. I think it's more or less gonna save it for the controller passing. I am not very good at platformers, to be quite honest. It's like a depth perception thing with my eyes. It really like I just I played Crash 4 and it was brutal at times. Like I'm just
Crash,
land.
but you know what? The Crash is hard though, man. It's hard. Crash is hard.
Yeah,
but I never played
too much
Psychonauts.
of that sort of like run and jumping platforming puzzles that you're talking about with the perception. So you might actually have an easier time with this one. Maybe.
Yeah, and I know there's invincibility as well, but I'm not going to do that.
Right.
But
just pretend it says Psychonauts Gears, and you'll be fine.
There you go.
Well, I never played the original, and obviously, at the least the power of the console could make it a decent experience. But I'm just like, well, if I'm going to try this, I'm going straight to 2, and I'd rather sit down with my girlfriend or somebody and just kind of, if I get frustrated, just be like, here, just take it. I'm just not doing it. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like that would be like, something like stupid. Like, hey, I'm gonna go review that game. And we're gonna get into it more, but I don't understand people's thought process. And we have to look at this game and say the reaction to it for the most part is extremely positive. I actually, even though I'm not a platformer fan, I actually said about a couple months ago that I thought this was going to be a Game of the Year contender. It was actually on the show. So, and that was because of what I watched and how Tim Schafer talked about it. Like the game has so many different elements going on. It takes like platformer and puts like steroids in there. It's like crazy, so it's a game that I'm definitely interested because it's like a unique experience. And that's something to be said because nowadays it's really hard to get a unique experience like they're doing with this game.
I absolutely agree. Real quick before we get in, we're caught into the conversation. Got to read 3 stories back to back. On start with Tripfolk. He says this: my daughter 20, who's 20 years old, says, "Dad, you have to play this. You'll love it." So I'll be checking it out. Recently played the OG. Also note, I'm a tiny bit older than Boom, but still Gen X. Nice. So it's nice to know that I'm not the oldest one in the room. Thank you for that, brother. Pixelbit G, generous friend of the show, great friend of this program. He says, I met Tim at the airport during that E3. I'm assuming he means 2019. He was surprised to see a big brother telling him how much he loved his work. Dude's history is legendary within the industry. Indeed it is. And Beast Mode 10 says, Psychonauts 2 has to be Game of the Year. By the way, Deathloop might also sneak to the Game of the Year running. So XGS and Bethesda might have at least 2 contenders. That's a great point. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Yes, Deathloop could potentially come in there. I think that game is going to hit big, in my opinion. And obviously, if you're a PlayStation owner, you're getting a year exclusive on that game. And listen, it's funny that and again, this is not a dig. Obviously with the delay of that we all knew was coming for Horizon, potentially the biggest game for PlayStation this year that's coming out. Not saying that Deathloop is bigger than Ratchet and Clank. I'm talking about coming out this fall is going to be a game published by Xbox, by Microsoft, which is hilarious. It's a funny conversation, but Cotton, let's get your opinion on this. Where do you fall on Tim Schafer and that studio's newest entry into the Psychonauts saga? Of course, it's on Game Pass for everyone to download, and if you have Game Pass, there's no reason not to try it.
Dude, I've been super excited for this game since I've known since it was on Fig. Actually, I wasn't actually. I've been broke, so I was just hoping everyone could pull through for me and for them. So I wasn't actually a supporter as much as I was there for mental support, But I I mean, I played the original game way back. It was definitely one of the first games I played on the original Xbox, and I was young, and it was just this really zany, out there game back then that I went straight from playing N64 growing up and like just
King of
loved.
platforms, by the way.
Right, exactly. So like Donkey Kong 64, probably like my all-time favorite platformer. I just loved that game, right? And then I got into the Xbox and I'm playing, a lot of Halo, and then I go over to a friend's house and I'm like, what's this? And I start playing that, and I liked it. And I didn't really, over the years it just like kind of went out of my memory until I saw the fig for it. And then they dropped the Rhombus of Ruin, which is like a VR sequel to the original game, and it's like it takes place like literally immediately after the first game. And if you're booting up Psychonauts 2 and you haven't played the original, or you didn't know anything about the Rhombus of Ruin, it's all like tied in with like a introduction cutscene.
Yes.
And it explains everything.
Yep.
And it
was well done too.
Well done.
Yeah.
The game it's great, dude. Like, it's such a true sequel to the original game, like in every single way. I replayed the original again with all the new, like, the enhancements that they put into it, and it's in Game Pass. So if you're someone, I have some friends who are like, I have a lot of younger friends too, and I'm decently young, and a lot of my friends are like, oh, just the old graphics, I can't do it. I'm just like, well, hey, you'll have a recap then. But I went through and played it again, and I just, reignited my excitement and love for this series that's now got 3 games if you count the VR game. And I've played Psychonauts 2 for I don't know how many hours now, but a lot. And down to the character design, the art design.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there playing it, and my brother and his girlfriend like walk in after his hockey game, and they're both like, they literally thought I was watching a movie. Like,
yes.
she's like, "Are you watching? Like, I thought this was a Pixar movie. You're playing a game." She's like, "I don't know. I don't know why I thought it was Pixar, because it's like a really trippy Pixar movie because all these like crazy psychedelic visuals." And I was like trying to explain it to them. They're like, "This is wild." And then I've been loving the game. Like, from the combat, like I said, it's like such a true sequel to the original one. They followed their vision. This is when you see a developer like, this was a passion project for them that like has come to full fruition of their vision.
Yes.
And like the fact that Microsoft stepped in and totally, backed them and gave them all this extra funding and time to just like really amp it up and make it the best it could be. I mean, the amount of polish on this game on the Series X is, to be commended. It looks fantastic. It's insanely smooth. All the different worlds, if you have played the original Psychonauts and you're going from mind to mind, you know that they're all completely different, and it's the same thing here. And like each time you're getting into a different level or world, and you don't know what to expect, and it's such a cool feeling. You don't know what's coming next, and the story it's not like a superficial story at all. It's like, I got some depth to it. It picks up directly from the other ones, but it also, I mean, the whole thing is touching on like mental illness, and it's like done very well and thoughtfully.
More importantly than that, Cotton, it's done with class and tact.
Yes, exactly. It's
even
awesome.
From the opening, they when the game opens, it tells the player that this game is going to deal with mental illness, and if you know someone that has a problem that may need help, they give you the website on where to go. I mean, talk about keeping yourself being aware.
Yeah, super aware. I think I'm absolutely loving the game. I'm like creeping. I'm like right on the finale of the game pretty much at this point.
Oh, wow.
And I've been playing it nonstop, and I love it, and I've been playing it like with my cousin. Well, we're not, it's not co-op or anything, but we started at the same time, and we're just running through it together in a party, like doing the same stuff at the same time. I get lost, like you said. I'm going off into different areas, like trying to collect everything before I can. Some areas I'm stepping into, it's like, okay, well, I don't have this ability or unlock to probably get this, but I'm still like literally trying to finagle my way in to get it every single way I can until I'm like, all right, I got to move and progress to the story. It's very well done. Very, very well done. Definitely try it if you have Game Pass. I mean, right now is the time to try it before all these other games start to come out. I would love to see it. It's definitely going to get some awards. It would be cool to see it get a Game of the Year. There's a lot of games coming out. I mean, you mentioned Deathloop. We're going to have games like Far Cry 6 coming out. You know, not to mention we have Halo, and just like there's just a lot of games that are going to be coming out. So I wouldn't be surprised if it gets snuffed at the Game Awards for Game of the Year, but it's definitely going to get some awards. I'll definitely tell you that. It's visually outstanding. The gameplay loop is fun, and even at the point I'm at in the game, I just unlocked like another ability in the game, and like I said, I'm like very far into the game. I should have almost every achievement except for the story-driven achievements. There's bugs right now where the achievements are not popping. You complete
I think that's an Xbox problem, though, to be honest,
Yeah.
because Hades just isn't popping for me at all.
Yeah, I saw that in the DM that you said. Yeah, I only had in Hades, and I played through to beat the second boss. I only had 2 achievements pop, so I don't know if I suck and I didn't get any, or the
it's definitely a Xbox problem, because there's like complete this side quest or kill an enemy this way or reach rank 50, and I'm like rank 80, or 90, almost something like that, and like
wow.
Pretty much, if you save, I've seen a fix for it, kind of where if you're saving the game, instead of like leaving it in quick resume when you're done playing, just like save it and quit the game out and boot it up fresh, and then when you come back in, you're starting. Some achievements are starting to pop up, but I mean that will be fixed. I have no complaints literally at all with this game. It's absolutely fantastic, and I recommend it to everybody to play.
Yeah, I had 5 or 6 achievements pop this morning when I played. It's like I said, I'm only like an hour and a half into the game, and I'm going to head right over as soon as I'm done with the show to play some more. But Dutch, let's get your opinion on this, and then we're going to talk about the controversy surrounding the review bombing that's going on. Where do you fall on Psychonauts, and your thoughts of the game?
Love it. Short and sweet. Love it. Love it. No, I'd never played the first. The amazing thing for me about this is that they do, if you haven't played it before, at the beginning of the game it gives you a summary as to what happened in the previous game, so it brings you up to speed pretty easily, in a nice like whimsical cartoon before you start, so not in the same style of the game itself,
right?
More like a kind of a comic strip-esque type summary as to what's happening with the game, which is really good, especially for someone like me who didn't play the first game. I was going to go back the other week and play the first game, but without those achievements, it was a no-go.
Yeah, I feel you.
So I just waited, and as soon as I seen as well before that they were going to do a summary about the first game leading up to this one, then I thought, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so I don't need to worry about it. But I didn't want to put that game down the other night. Absolutely, it's just so, like you say, it's a whimsical game. The characters are interesting. The stories, I mean, I don't know how if people are that even kind of not too far into the story, you start going to school for the first time, Psychonauts school, and these characters that kind of lock you in a cupboard and take away your clothes and bully you. And I was like, I want to really punch them.
Yeah.
I was like, that is not cool. And I was just like, yeah, the story works really well. But then some of the characters you see, the combat's really cool, the movement's cool, all the different techniques. I like the way that to handle the upgrades, all the different kind of mechanics on that, and the things you need to collect, and the exploration and the collectibles, and over the whole game as a whole is. I can see why a lot of people are saying it's a contender for Game of the Year, put it that way. And I'm only about maybe 4 hours into the game. Wow. And I can't wait to play. I literally cannot wait to play more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like here, Dutch. I mean, again, each of the levels, and again, I'm super early into.
They're all so different.
It gets so good, guys. Like literally each world you go into, it's just like you're like, no way. Like, what is he? What? Some of them you have no idea what is going on, and some of them it's just the visuals in this game they're so cool. There's a
just insane. Like change of perspectives every 2 minutes.
oh yeah,
So
dude,
like
the
you'll
camera
be
work
walking
is
forwards,
awesome.
and then it'll zoom all the way out, and then all of a sudden you'll have to walk on that wall that you've just seen. So then
Yeah.
the camera will change, and you're walking on the wall, and it's like top down, and then it's from behind you. Then it's a platformer. Then it's
Yeah, it'll go from 3D to 2D to it's so creative, man. And like they brought back almost the entire voice cast from the original one from 16
I played the
years
original one a
ago.
couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they all sound like they
sound
have
spot on.
they
It's
do.
it's absolutely amazing.
Can I ask the Wandering Dutch?
yes.
Now that you've had your experience in 2, when you finish 2, would you go back and deal with 1 to just see?
No, just because it doesn't have achievements.
Okay.
I'm
Hey,
just-
that's
I'm
an honest answer. I mean,
I'm spoiled like that. Like I feel, and this goes for a lot of games as well. Like I would love to play more in Hades, but Hades is one of them games that you feel like you need to, like you have something to progress to, not just finish the game, but like get these difficult achievements and get these accomplishments. Like that's one of the reasons that like I hate and hate to love Nintendo, because they don't have an achievement system. So
Yeah.
I find playing their games, you kind of you
It's-
finish the game, but you don't feel accomplished.
it's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
You know, getting that, even though it's 5 points, or I mean, literally, it's nothing other than bragging rights of, hey, I got this. But other, you do get that adrenaline rush of happiness of like, hey, check this out, I
It gives you more of a
achieved
purpose as well.
something.
Yeah, gives you more of a purpose to the game, which is why I like the trophy system and the achievement system overall as a concept, because it gives an additional reason to play a game, like challenges. Because a lot of these things are just like, right, okay, well, you've got to complete all of this and fill all of this up, or get to this certain part of the level, or kill this many people, or do this and do that. And a game like Hades is hard enough as it is to play, to not have anything to be rewarded by it other than just to beat it. You know what I mean? So so at the minute I've paused on Hades until they've fixed whatever bugs this is. But thankfully I'm popping achievements for Psychonauts too. So
Yeah.
I know this is off topic, but it'd be nice if they went back to those old non-achievable games. It just added something.
Yeah, that'd be super cool.
That'd be awesome. I would love to, even if they were like cheapy Charlie ones, like every achievement is 50 points and it's 20. They just go and play round 1, 50 points or whatever.
It just gives you that motivation, like to go, especially in Psychonauts the original. I was like super deterred at first to not wanting to play it just because of achievements, specifically myself. And I was like, so I didn't like 100% the game. I kind of ran through. I did some, just out of like pure OCD, like running around exploring and collecting things, but it doesn't give you that drive to want 100% everything, get all of the figments and do all of these things. And that goes for a lot of those old games. It'd be cool to see them go back and add some.
Yeah, especially that they're getting the graphical updates on some of those older games. It'd be nice to just like, okay, well, we'll just add our own little mini achievements, even though it's not from the publisher, but we'll give you an honorary achievement for the publisher.
Yeah, it's simple, like beat Act 1, beat something.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, keep it simple. Yep. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's some development into that. I mean, who knows? Maybe one day we'll see that starting to come to fruition, where the OG Xbox games do in fact get it. I'm sure that they've heard the people ask for it, but I kind of want to now shift, keeping with Psychonauts, of what's going on in the socials, so to speak. I saw a lot of people, I mean, almost immediately, as soon as the people jumped in the chat, boom, are you going to talk about the review bombing going on? And of course, I have to. And Phil Eagle, good friend of the show, he said earlier in the chat that really, reviews don't really mean much. And he's on to something with that. And I think that this is another prime example of there being literally a distaste for Xbox anything. And again, we see it all the time. We're not seeing it as much. It's not as prevalent as it was during the original OG the Xbox One 2013, 2014, and some years past there. I mean, Phil Spencer and that team have turned everyone around and certainly turned the ship around. I think that if you're talking negatively about Xbox, it's because you personally hold a bias against the brand. Because when they make a mistake, everyone on this panel will be the first one to be like, you know what, that wasn't cool. We all said, well, if you remember a couple of months ago, earlier in 2021, what happened with the live gold going up to $120? We all went out up against Microsoft and was like, yeah, that's a bad move. What'd they do? They immediately did a 360, no pun intended. But getting back to Psychonauts, and I'm not going to go round robin. Anyone that wants to jump in, just jump in and give us your point. If you are a reviewer and you're giving this a 3, then obviously there's something wrong with you, because the game, as you've heard from everyone that has played it, is, at least in my opinion, in my early opinion, it's a platform masterpiece. People are giving it zeros. Well, the community is just effed up. That's what they do. So I'm not surprised. Metro UK, I don't know what they gave it, but they're probably going to give it a 2. Because that's just what they are. They're permanently PlayStation, and that's what they do. We were talking pregame, and I'm gonna go to was it Dreadpool that was you were talking about the receipts?
Yeah.
Elaborate on that.
I slightly brought it up when you had to go answer the door. Yeah. So yeah, like I said earlier, and Dutch even commented on it. If you're going to be able to sit there, you need to be able to at least say you own the game, or at least played the game so much percentage, and my whole thing is just be honest about it. You know what I mean? I don't care if it's good or bad. Whatever you think is what you think, but be honest. Don't just make stuff up just because you don't like it, because it's a certain piece of hardware from plastic that you don't like. Why make stuff up? It's like the one guy that went over for Breath of the Wild and gave it a 0 because everybody else was giving it 10s. Why? What's the point? If your feelings are hurt that bad, maybe you shouldn't even be posting. Just be honest. If it's not your game, then it's not your game. Just explain, hey, look, I tried it, it's not my thing. Wait, Wandering Dutch, you said you didn't like the first one because, one, it didn't have the achievements, the graphics were kind of janky, which we know they're old school graphics. Trying to play try to play the first Siphon Filter now, and you tell me, just like the first Lara Croft, you know what I mean? It's trying to play Tomb Raider with traffic cones, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So it's not the same, so I get it, if it's not your style of game, okay, I'm not into platformers. I'm not, but be honest about it. This is why I don't like it, but when you're just trashing it, and it's funny how it's just automatically, just because it wasn't a bad game before when it was multiplayer, right? And now it isn't, but it is. It's just so weird how people take their feelings and do all this, but if you're going to do it, you should be legitimized at some point, some way, and it should be like Xbox, PlayStation, they should have their connections, because it's on both sides. It's not the one side. Okay, I'm going across both everything.
100%. Yeah.
And if you're going to do it, you should have some validation behind you as to why. Not only one, the way you think you do, well, maybe I'll learn something. Okay, well, so and so doesn't like these type of games, so obviously he's going to score it lower. But he prefers these type of games, so he's going to prefer these ones a little bit more and give them a higher score. And if I'm in the same mentality of what my game style is, then I could say, okay, this is more of a better score that I can follow it and back up behind this person, because not only did he say, hey, I'm into first person shooters, I don't like platformers, but I gave it a try. I played, so much the Xbox, the PlayStation, the PC, the game says I got to a certain point in the game and it was enough for me to say, this is not my game. Whether it's 40%, whether it's 30% or 80%, you got to a certain point to be able to say, look, I played it. It just wasn't my thing. I gave it a shot. Okay, yeah. That's fine. I got no problems if you give it a 3, because it's not your type of game. But when it comes to the professional reviewers, that's another part I have an issue with. If you're a reviewer professionally, you should be playing that game 100%. You should be, or at least say, hey, look, because of deadlines, I had to cut it short, blah, 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 blah. But be honest about it, okay? Don't be like, it's just another game, and I was rushed. Okay, well, you were rushed, but say how far you got, explain why, give us all the reasoning, but at the same time, you should be a fan of that game. You should not be playing first-person shooters and giving a review on RTS, right? You should not be giving a review on tactics games like XCOM, because that is not your forte when it comes to these games to be able to do that. And I get it. Unfortunately, these companies, when they need somebody because who's the next in line that's not doing something, but this is why when it comes to professional reviewers, they should at least expose themselves. I am not this type of player, and preferably their higher ups will notice that this type of player should not be reviewing this type of game, because they are not slated for this. Because I'm sorry, if someone loves Doom and they're going to go through and they're going to play Doom, they're going to tell me exactly how good this Doom is because they've played every single Doom. But when you get somebody else that can't play Cuphead trying to tell me how good or bad of a game it is, but you can't even get past the tutorial. Okay.
We're not going to mention any names on this program.
You know what I'm saying? but that's my whole point about it. As a gamer, we should have the openness to be able to say, yes, this, and this, this is why I feel it's a 3. But as a professional, no.
So-called
Yeah, exactly. So-called,
Right. Well, the people that are literally employed for major, like the IGNs, the Game Informers, all these people who are like legitimate journalists
and their votes are weighted. That's the other thing. Their votes are weighted
big time.
So, but that's kind of my take. It goes back to the same thing. I don't want to score a game. I'm going to say meh, or nah.
No, a great point. Crispy, is Dreadpool onto something here? Rotten Tomatoes makes you take a picture and upload your actual ticket receipt to prove that you saw the film. I mean, again, it's not 100% proof because you could get a ticket stub and fake that. But if you are looking for potentially to be picked up by a publisher to write about movies, you're not going to be you're not going to be throwing BS reviews up there because no one's going to take you seriously. Do you think that maybe, like Dredd said earlier, linking the accounts to prove that you in fact have the game, have played the game?
You have to. I mean, I don't understand how they still haven't done this. You should at least, especially if you're, a big site or something, or even, the smaller ones that still have, the actual reviews in there, not the user reviews. You should have to complete at least 50% of the game. I don't care if it's, you got to take a picture of the achievement you got, whatever you got to do. You know what I mean? Whatever that may be. But there is plenty of stuff that tracks these things nowadays. Why does Metacritic not use it? I don't understand. And that's why it's meta-who for me. It means nothing to me. Okay. Do I enjoy when a game gets a good score and it's worthy of that score? Yes. But when they get bombed for nothing, you know what I mean? That's when it gets a little sad. And you got even people with YouTube channels and stuff review bombing, and they're showing their names on there like, hey, I'm proud that I said this BS. Like, there's one word I have for this. Do you have integrity?
Yes.
Do you have integrity? Do you want people to take you seriously when you talk about playing games? And if you're going to do stupid BS like that, I say you have zero integrity and you need to grow up. And I honestly would shut down your YouTube channel. And there's a few people I'm talking about because I've seen them. I don't block everybody. Wilmy probably has like them blocked 10 years ago. I'm the type of guy, as long as you don't attack me, I'll listen to your opinion. And lately, these guys' opinions have been off the rails crazy. Yeah. Okay. And let's be serious for a second. There's not one person that I've heard that's played this game that has said any of those words. So if I see these reviews of 0 and stuff, you are not taken seriously. You are just a loser, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And all you want to do is make somebody else's enjoyment irrelevant. And I think that's bull crap.
Yeah. No, I mean, you're definitely onto something for sure. Let's get Dutch's final point on this. Dutch, obviously, you and I, we have YouTube channels.
Yes.
Like everybody, but almost everybody on the panel does.
Yeah.
We take our work serious, not because we're looking to get picked up by Microsoft, but because Cotton has just said, and Cotton, will come back to you, brother.
Cool.
Integrity. It's super important. I think it might be one of the most important aspects of being a journalist or so-called journalist. Where do you fall on the so-called review bombing that is going on?
Yeah. With regard to review bombing, it's again we spoke very briefly about this earlier on before we started this particular topic, and Metacritic needs an overhaul. OpenCritic needs an
100%.
overhaul. Any of these review sites need to implement exactly what Steam have done, and that is show and link any accounts that you've played these games on directly to this particular review article.
Yes.
To prove not only that you've played the game, but how long you've played the game for. You cannot review or put a review up of a game that you've played for even but half an hour. Whether or not you don't get along with that game, I don't like that particular game, that isn't a review. I don't like the game isn't a review. It doesn't actually, that's not a critical response to what that game is or how it plays. So for somebody the average person to go on and give it a 0 and have 0 time played on the game, or even 15 minutes, just turned it on just to prove that they've turned the game on, that isn't a review in a game, and that doesn't qualify or quantify having the right to review or comment on a game. I wouldn't do it. I don't do it even on Twitter. I don't comment on games I've never played on. That's exactly the same thing as what these people are doing on OpenCritic and Metacritic and leaving these review bombs, and that goes for every platform. It's ridiculous. But it speaks more to the person than it does to the platform. If you've got the time to go on and slander something that you wouldn't have the cojones to actually play, sit through and enjoy, or should we say, just because other people are telling you shouldn't enjoy it, then go out and slate it just to try and get some kind of gratification from your cult, then you need to reevaluate your life.
Yeah, listen. You're not even being mean. You're being truthful, because obviously Sony doesn't care about you like you think that they do. And listen, folks. That every community has a toxic group. Xbox isn't removed from that conversation. Nintendo has it. Xbox has it, and specifically PlayStation. They have it. Now, the loudest ones that we have seen have been, unfortunately, in the PlayStation community. And all you gotta do is, if you don't want to be a part of that conversation, I say mute to hell out of everyone or block everyone and just keep your timeline clean. Cotton, you've heard what everyone had to say. You mentioned the word integrity. You talked about showing the receipts. Where do you fall? Is Dutch right? Does Metacritic need a complete overhaul?
Yeah, actually, that was Crispy who said integrity, and I'm 100% stand with him. It does need an overhaul. Integrity is super important just in general in your life. I think everyone should try to maintain it. It's a fantastic character trait that you should be working towards, even myself included, and especially within writing and reviewing. Like, this is not just this is the people at Double Fine's like careers and like everything. You're reviewing their hard work, like it's not just for nothing. You're typing, like, people won't take all the review bombers seriously, but it's still like, this is their livelihoods and stuff that you're just like years of work you're just trashing on for what, especially if you haven't even played the game. That, like, games, people do reviews as a service for games like Destiny, on like ESO and stuff, like reviews. I said is they like, what do they do prolonged reviews, you know what I mean, for games that are that big, and they still manage to play like all the vanilla content and stuff like that. If there's a game like Psychonauts specifically, or any other game that is like, you can actually beat this game in like 20-30 hours, whatever, then I think you don't need 100% the game, but you should run through the story beats, and beat the game before, like just like as a baseline to like whatever. That's the way I feel about it. Otherwise, I would speak on like what you've played, but that's about it. I wouldn't review a full game. I think it's just like, yeah, it's just not honest. And there's countless apps, websites, everything that lets you link your accounts these days.
Yes.
Like I was talking with Dreadpool earlier. Whether it's an app on your phone that lets you link your Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything, like, or any sort of website that lets you sign into your PSN or in your Xbox Live and your Steam and your Nintendo and link all your stuff, like Metacritic and other review sites should be implementing that so that people can they can find like, okay, this person put a review out. It's not just a review bomb. Let me look and see, I can see their achievements, their trophies, or whatever. You can look at their stats, like
how long they played the game. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's at least a decent fix to it. Like besides a full workaround, I think that would not be very hard to implement at all. I mean, Double Fine literally worked their asses off for this game. Like it's a true passion project. I mean, you can go to Double Fine's YouTube and watch all their dev diaries from 2 years ago when it was crowdfunded into their Rhombus of Ruin VR game. You see, they actually brought all of their funders out, or at least a lot of them, and took them to like a real world made rendition of the Whispering Rock Psychic Summer Camp to like celebrate them and thank them for their support, which is the camp from the first Psychonauts game. Like totally remade it in real life. Like these are stand-up people, and it's just straight up slander is what it is to be doing, just to review bomb anything without even actually giving it the time of day.
Yeah, I actually, I as an older guy on the panel, I have a hard time understanding that people enjoy seeing others fail. Like I don't get that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the kind of guy that loves to lift people up, and I find it very ridiculous that you get that. But listen, folks, this has been a fantastic 2 hours. And anybody want to say anything else before we get on out of here about the Psychonauts?
Go play it. Go play the game.
Yeah, go play it.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Yeah.
I'm going to add the one thing.
What's that?
Everything. This is going to be your dread talk, right? Everything needs to be in a competition for perfection, right? Not to take it down, but to bring it up, because the next thing will be even better, and so forth. We need to roll that rock uphill instead of letting it drop downhill.
Yep.
Well, you certainly can't argue that. Before we get on out of here, let me just read some of the super chats that have come in, quite a few of them. Raiden Blade, generous friend of the show. He dropped several, 3 actually. One is £5. He says, no, don't go back and add achievements. He's talking about Psychonauts because of my backlog. Yeah, my backlog is ridiculous. He writes another one that says, who the hell gives Psychonauts 2 low scores? Dude, it's a thing. I don't get it. DJ Berto, DOS, drops a very generous $5. Jen says, Dreadpool, my brother, you're making too much sense on these games reviewers. I mean, shame on us for making sense. Raiden Blade drops an additional $2 super chat and says, it should be a compulsory to produce tickets. Yeah, that's 100%. They did it for Rotten Tomatoes. They should do that but again, the site is going to want change. Are they going to go? Are they going to put the work in? I think if we ask for it, maybe they eventually will. And last but certainly not least, good friend of the show, Philly Eagle, drops a very generous $5 super chat. Says, gotta run, folks. Excellent show and chat. Well, thank you for that, brother. Everyone be safe out there. Remember to be kind to one another, indeed. And don't forget to smash that like button, brother. Thank you so much, Philly. Love you, bro, and enjoy and be safe as well. But let's get to the outros, and we'll get everyone out there to start their Friday, and hopefully you have an amazing weekend. And we're going to start first with Dreadpool. Dreadpool, thank you for being here. Sorry that we missed the 1-year anniversary, but we love having you on the program. You brought your A game 100% today. Tell everyone but what you got going on, including Breaking Bread with Dread, if that's coming back, and where can people reach out to you on social media?
Yes, first and foremost, thanks for everybody in the chat. Thank everybody here that's in the panel. Obviously, no boom. Can't thank you enough as always.
My pleasure, bro. My pleasure.
Wednesday nights, you can find me on Gaming Beyond the Box. Husky and I actually did one after that with Colt Eastwood. It was a great interview. We did a creator feature that after our podcast, and my Twitter is still blowing up because of that show. And as for Breaking Bread with Dread, the latest one I did was with Psychonauts.
Nice.
Okay, so yeah, definitely check that one out. I have a few more lined up. I have a couple bands that I'm trying to work with and trying to get in person. So yeah, I'm trying to branch out. Like I said, it's not just strictly gaming; it's personalities. We want to see different people, different ideas, and different talents. So and obviously every Friday morning right here, Breakfast with Boom. And if you need to find anything, just look up Linktree/Dreadpool. It's got all my links to everything and anything.
Well, thank you for being here, brother. Real quick, shout out to Pure Flack Monkey. It's his 47th anniversary tomorrow. Well, congratulations, bro.
Congratulations.
That is a monster achievement. Raiden Blade drops an additional $2 super chat and says, what's the score now for Psychonauts 2? I think on meta, it's an 88, which is not too shabby. As a matter of fact, you know what? Man, I didn't even remember to bring this up. I had put this in here. Here's some of the scores. I'll throw it up on the screen for you real quick as we do the remainder of the outros. This is put out by Clobriel. The Guardian gives it 5 out of 5. The Escapist gives it 5 out of 5. Gaming Trend gives it a perfect score of 100. VG 247 gives it a 5 out of 5. GameSpot 9 out of 10. Game Informer 9 out of 10. I think it's Easy Allies 9.5 out of 10, and Xbox Era, friend of this program, gives it a 9.2 out of 10. And obviously you can see that we're not making this stuff up. But Crispy Bomb, thank you so much. It's great to have you back, brother. Tell everyone where they could reach out to you on social media and what other shows you got going on.
Always a pleasure, gentlemen, and shout out to the chat for waking up with us, and hope everybody has a great weekend. It's at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, CrispyBomb28, Xbox Live. You can find me on Retro Renegades Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. The next podcast, 8 p.m. on Thursday, and of course back here on Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Fridays.
Well, thank you so much for that. And of course, a big shout out again to the Pure Flack Monkey, friend of this program. It's his 47th birthday. He was using a play in words, and I figured that's what it was. But of course, I had to read what you wrote, brother. But congratulations once again on, listen, every year past the next in the world that we're living in is a blessing. And listen, happy birthday, brother. Enjoy. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, John B. Says, great show. Appreciate that very much. Cotton McCast, the newest member to, of course, the Thursday edition of the Xbox Factor podcast. Great to have you on. Tell everyone where they can reach out to you on social media and potentially get sniped by you on the Xbox. That you give me your gamer tag.
All right. Yeah, I'm super excited actually to be joining you now on a weekly basis on the Xbox Factor podcast. So first and foremost, you can find me there on this
starting
channel
next Thursday.
That's right, next Thursday on Double Barrel Gaming, and I'm on Twitter at the same name, Cotton McCass, and Xbox Live. My gamer tag right now is Terry Fold. That's one word. Hit me up. I'm down to talk some games, down to play some games. If you want to, a little 1v1 in Halo, you want to team up, play some co-op, whatever you want to do, I'm down. I mean, thanks for having me on, dude. Every single time, have a good time. Thanks to chat. Everybody smash the thumbs up button. It's great to talk with you again, Dreadpool, Crispy, Dutch. I hope you guys are all doing good. Everyone go check out their content. All these dudes make killer content.
I got to add to that. I've actually met Cotton twice for Breaking Bread.
Nice.
And in person, he is just as nice and knowledgeable as he is when he's not here, right? Okay, he is not a fake. He is 100% truly nice guy. So great guy to hang out with. Yeah, definitely.
Had a great time. Next time I'm in Florida, we'll have to link up again.
We'll do.
Definitely sounds good, man. And the best beard in the business. You got a lot going on, Dutch. Obviously, you're giving some copies away of Song of Iron. You also got a monster video video review coming out on the 30th when the embargo lifts. Tell everyone about where they could check that out. Check out your YouTube channel, and more importantly, check out your live content, as well as reach out to you on social media.
Definitely, yes. So you can find me on Twitter at Wondering Dutch and on YouTube at Wondering Dutch, the home of the Midweek Mix-Up podcast. The review will be live at 10 a.m. PST on Monday after the embargo lifts at 7 p.m. for Europe or 6 p.m. in the UK. The actual link for that particular review is already up on my YouTube channel, so you can set a reminder to go watch it now. I'm also just in the middle of changing the cover art for that, so it will change. Nice. I'm just putting a poll up to my panel members to debate on which one I'm going to use. So, but yeah, Joe will also be joining us on Midweek Mix-Up on Wednesday next week, so the day after launch, to help give away 4 copies of Song of Iron to the community. So if you want a chance to win the game, of course, join Boom for Xbox Factor Podcast, where he'll be giving away up to 10 copies of the game. And myself, obviously, you have another chance if you miss out there to win up to 4 copies of the game. So absolutely awesome. Following that, we also have another developer on next week, who's another idea Xbox developer for a game called Stormlight. We'll be talking to him about the show as well. And then the week after, we have ACG, Angry Centaur Gaming, coming on to the channel. And he'll be the special guest. So, yes, things are starting to ramp up now. But thank you again. Awesome panel. I thought I'd just jump in and throw my opinions into the hat for the final couple of topics there. It's been awesome to podcast with Crispy, Dread, and Cotton again. And hope you all have an awesome day.
Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the incredible amount of super chats that have come in. And obviously, those super chats and channel memberships allow Mrs. Boomstick and I to do these monster giveaways. And again, like Dutch said, we're giving away 10 copies on the 31st, on the release date of Song of Iron, to support Joe Winter and his dream. We purchased 10 copies, and we're going to be giving them away. And you don't got to drop a super chat in or be a channel member to win. Just be in the chat. And Mrs. Boom is going to pick the 10 winners, and we're going to get those codes out as soon as the show ends, and you can enjoy Song of Iron. And, of course, look to Double Barrel Gaming and, of course, Wandering Dutch's channel for our reviews, full spoiler-free reviews of Song of Iron, which releases on August 31st. And, of course, I'm going to close the show with something that's super important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he said, son, treat others how you want to be treated. Also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, and I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. Have a great weekend. Enjoy gaming on whatever console you enjoy gaming on. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.